Trying to predict the future of business, everyone has a different answer. Bull market, bear market, rates up, rates down. If only we could fast forward and see what's coming. Luckily, over 43,000 businesses have future-proofed their growth using NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 AI cloud ERP that brings together accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. NetSuite is your unified source of insight, giving you visibility and actionable data to make quick decisions. With real-time forecasting, it turns uncertainty into clarity you can act on. And when you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you're looking backwards less and focusing more on what's next. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, NetSuite is exactly what I would use. Whether you're earning millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite helps you respond to challenges fast and seize big opportunities. Speaking of opportunity, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning for free at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. netsuite.com/SPI. Your business is doing great, so well, in fact, that you need to hire and hire fast. How can you find amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need, so you can stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. And with sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want to faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. One of the things I love most about Indeed is that it's one of the largest databases of job seekers, giving employers access to a wide range of candidates. And with the job alerts feature, I get notified when new candidates apply. With the Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. And how fast is Indeed? In the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide, which is crazy. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed is all you need. All right, I have a huge update for you today, and this is about my 60-day experiment that has now been going for over 400 days. This initially was a 60-day short-form video content experiment that was done last year, where I was going to publish a video daily, every day, that's what daily means, for 60 days, and just see what happened. And I was confined by a few rules. Number one, I had to do it all myself. I couldn't get any additional help. Number two, I couldn't link to it from anything that I already had. Number three, I only allowed myself no more than 1 hour a day in the beginning, and I'll share some information and how I've been able to get that 1 hour down to about 10 to 12 minutes per day, and how we are seeing now, over 400 episodes later, 10 million views per day. 10 million views per day. We're well over 4.5 billion views now across TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and now 2 new platforms that I'm experimenting on. One that I started about 30 days ago that I've had now 25 million views on and have seen additional income come in by simply just posting those same videos. So if that doesn't excite you, I don't know what will, but I want to go back to the beginning a little bit because some of you might not be so informed with what this experiment was and why I decided to do it. Now, I've always been known as sort of the long-form guy, right? I've always created long-form content, and even when the Pokemon YouTube channel Deep Pocket Monsters started in 2021, it was all long-form, right? First, it was more educational videos, then it was infotainment, and then now mainly entertainment with these challenge videos, some of which go over an hour and a half. Our longest video, which was a compilation of 8 other videos, is over 4.5 hours. And yes, those are still performing extremely well. In fact, long form is outperforming everything in the sense of revenue, in the sense of enjoyment, that's for sure. And also, it's interesting, the long form channel has seen a shift in terms of who is watching. We are seeing now about 60 to 65% of our audience on the long form channel is watching on a television. And I don't know about you, but I know that a lot of my YouTube watching for longer form videos does actually happen on a television. When I'm with the family, around the dinner table, all those kinds of things. When I'm on a break, I'm watching longer form videos on a television, not just my mobile device. Mobile obviously is always going to remain very important, and definitely for short form, which again, we'll get into in just a minute. The long form channel is doing extremely well. We are approaching 2 million subscribers now after 5.5 years. It is at 1.85 million subscribers, and it has changed my life. It's been a new business. It's been new revenue. It's been new opportunities and new friends. It's been really, really cool. We're at a point now where we can, when we have a sponsor, we have a lot of people who want to get in front of this audience. We say no to most opportunities because we want them to be directly related, and we integrate the brand typically into the story. I'm not going to go into that because that's for another conversation. In fact, I recently spoke about those moments in a recent podcast episode about what's working in sponsorships and brand deals. So go ahead and listen to that episode, which was just a couple episodes ago, if you haven't already, to get more info on that. But we can get anywhere between, right now, we're commanding, because of the views, 25 to 50K for an integration. It's not just a 60-second ad spot, right? It's an actual integration into the video, being a part of the story, those kinds of things. So, I mean, that's not ad revenue from YouTube. That is in addition to ad revenue from YouTube, which is wild. We are about to launch some merch on the channel. I mean, this has become a whole brand. Everything I spoke about in my book, Superfans, I'm just following to a T. And look out for another edition of Superfans coming perhaps next year in 2026, because there's been a lot of development in the world of building fans, loyalty, building a following. The SPI community is not even spoken about inside of Superfans because it was written right before that came out. The Pokemon channel is obviously not mentioned in the book. It's about time. And I think this is a message, building Superfans, building loyalty, building experiences for your audience, not just like thinking of them as a number or a subscriber, but rather a superfan is really key. But why decide to dive into short form? Well, there were a few reasons. I've had a few inspirations, right? Alex Catch'em, or who I like to call Alex Can't Catch'em. We have a little bit of beef or rivalry in our Pokemon space because the short form channel is also about Pokemon. But again, I didn't link to it from my previous Pokemon channel. I wanted it to be clean. You don't even see my face. It's just my hands and my thumbs. My thumbs are on my hands, by the way. Anyway, Alex was the first person that I knew who was going daily, who was really preaching the idea of showing up consistently, having learning experiences more often because you're showing up on the daily, and a lot more data coming in. And that was a big reason why I wanted to dive in. I was just like, you know what? I haven't cracked the code for short form yet. The only way to know what's going to work is just to try. And so I might as well create this sort of accountability exercise for myself and a little tiny experiment, as Anne LeCompte might say, to try it out for 60 days and see what happens. That was kind of reason number one. Reason number two is I was just very curious. I wanted to know what worked. I saw it as a challenge, and I wanted to see if I could develop a little show, a 60-second show daily, and just see if I can do it. And number three, I wanted to work on my editing chops as well. I've been so removed from editing because I've had this team for such a long time. And the team's great, by the way. But I love editing. I love putting my own personality and creativity into the editing process, and I've been very far removed from that. So I've wanted to have some fun with this too. So the whole thing about this experiment was I would win if I got to day 60. I didn't really care what the views were. Now, that being said, of course, I wanted the views to be there. But even if the views weren't there, I would hopefully see it through, and that would mean I would win, because that's what I can control. You can, as Alex, my buddy, says, you can count uploads, not likes. That's what you need to do, because you can control the uploads. You can't always control how the algorithm will respond. So I ran this experiment, started in July of 2025. And I remember going 30 days in. I was into August. I was in Nashville, actually, for an author's retreat at the time we hit 30 days. And I was looking at my numbers, the views, and not seeing a lot of traction yet. I mean, I'm talking some views were below 1,000. A couple were in the multi-thousand range. I had really nothing ever pop, really. And this was a brand new channel that I started on YouTube called Short Pocket Monster. I also started to post these videos on TikTok and Instagram Reels as well. I had a very, very small following for Deep Pocket Monster on those social platforms, and I wasn't seeing much leverage. Nothing was happening. That being said, that was just on the views front. When I looked to see some of the other results, I saw a lot of things happening. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about things like my editing time. It went from about 45 minutes to an hour per video. Again, that's the only allotted time that I gave myself. Because here's the thing, there's this thing called Parkinson's Law. If I gave myself 10 hours to edit a video, it would take me 10 hours to edit the video. So I knew that there was this sort of idea of using time as a tool to almost force myself, a voluntary force function, to just force myself to make decisions and to not over-prepare or perfect. Now, what once took 45 minutes to an hour, then after 30 days only took me about 15 minutes, which was a huge improvement. I learned the templates to use. I learned the shortcuts for the editing software, which, by the way, was ScreenFlow. I was able to just use the same music. I was able to build a library of sound effects and a library of graphics that I would use all the time. And these things I just started using over and over again. And so I was getting more efficient for sure, although I wasn't even seeing the views yet. And in addition to all of that, I got 30 points of data from YouTube telling me which ones kind of did better than others. And I could go in and analyze the retention graphs and understand why. I started to notice things like if I was in person interacting with somebody or a shop owner, those tended to get more of a retention and higher view count. If I really drove home the hook in the beginning of those videos, then it would do a lot better. So I started to learn it. And then guess what? On day 35, one of those videos hit 750,000 views. It just exploded. And the whole channel has grown since. And then when I got to day 60, I was like, you know what? This is so good. I'm not stopping. Because not only was I seeing massive views coming in, all the older content in the library started to grow, the ones that had very little views at first. People started binge watching this stuff. And I was seeing revenue come in. And I'm talking once that hit, a month after the 750,000 view video, on YouTube and YouTube alone, I saw about $11,000 in revenue come in from short form content. I had unlocked monetization right before that. I had enough views, I had enough subscribers, but man, the revenue started pouring in, which was pretty cool. Now, revenue wasn't coming in from Instagram, but I saw growth there as well. I went from 20,000 followers, which I had, all the way to over 100,000 just within that 60-day experiment. And most of it happened in those final 25 days. Same thing happened on TikTok as well. And to fast forward to today, to give you an idea of where we're at, on the YouTube channel, Short Pocket Monster, we are at 2.1 million subscribers. 2.1. It's even more than my long form channel at this point. 2.1. On TikTok, 1.8 million subscribers, up from 20,000 started 400 days ago. Instagram is up to 1.2 million followers. And like I said earlier, I have 2 additional platforms, new ones, that I'm testing out. It's only been about 30 days for each, and I'll reveal those more toward the end because I don't want to distract right now. But I do want to talk about the process a bit and hopefully give you some fuel, some excitement, some energy toward creating. And again, to go back to what Alex said, count uploads, not likes. And if you can get to daily on this stuff by only allowing yourself so much time to do it so that you don't over-perfect, this is how you eventually start to find what works. And I always use this analogy, but I'm going to use it again because I love it, and it's fishing. You could have the perfect bait on the perfect day with the perfect barometric pressure and have the perfect cast with the perfect presentation right in front of a fish's face and still have it not bite. And most people, metaphorically, when they cast a perfect cast out there like that in the world of short form video, they give it a few tries and then they leave. It's not even your fault. It's just the name of the game. You have to keep publishing. And the more that you publish, the more data you get, the more opportunities, the more bait you throw, the more opportunity that finally you're going to aggravate that largemouth bass, and it's going to be like, you know what? Boom. There it is. And that's what happened on day 35 with me, or that's at least how I see it. Now, the process of creating these videos got a lot faster, like I said. I started to really dive into what could I do to become more efficient. So I learned shortcuts. I learned that if I use Command F, for example, it would freeze a frame inside of ScreenFlow, or I think it's actually Command Shift F now that I'm looking at my keyboard. It freezes a frame, and I can extend it out to zoom in, and then I could drag and drop my little jingle in there. And if you don't know what this jingle is, let me play it for you.
Should I open it, or should I keep it sealed?
And that's it. And if I get a bad card at the end of this Pokemon pack that I'm opening, you might hear something like this.
Oh no, you should have kept it sealed.
And if I get a really good card, you might hear something like this.
Wow, it's the best card in the set. Yay!
Now, those were created by our good friends at Music Radio Creative. Mike and Isabella have been with me for such a long time. In fact, this is a little bit of my podcaster DNA being put into these shorts, being an audio file myself and being somebody who wanted to brand the audio of this in a way that I knew was helpful for podcasts. I wanted to do this in a 60-second show. And Mike and Isabella got sent a crude sort of my voice spoken version of this, or sung version of this, and they were able to find a voiceover actor or actress, in fact, in Australia. Her name is Kim. And I found this out later, but she is like a famous singer in Australia. Her name is Kim. I don't know her last name, but this is what Mike and Isabella tell me. And she is now part of this very famous jingle, and I modeled this jingle after, those like little jingles and commercials for, Empire Carpet and AutoZone and, all those kinds of things. That's kind of what I was modeling it after. And what it also does is it kind of opens up this loop. Should I open it or should I keep it sealed? And then in most cases, I do open it, and you either see whether or not this actually was worth opening or if I didn't do so well. And it's always a question. And here's why this works. First of all, to close the loop on Kim, she's this like famous voice actress, and she's singing these things about Pokemon cards. It's like the most hilarious thing, especially when she says things like this.
Oh no, you're short and you smell like pee. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't use that one very often, but I've gotten bad cards so often that I've needed to go back and hire through musicradiocreative.com Kim to just do a whole bunch of different things of what might happen or what might be said if I get a bad card, which like I said, is very often. Anyway, it's just like hilarious to me that this like world-renowned singer is saying these things. It's just like, it's almost comedic. Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Hey, fellow podcasters, does this sound like something you've experienced? You record your podcast episode on one platform, you download the files, edit in another app, then fire up a different tool just to create social clips. Well, it can be clunky, time-consuming, and frankly overwhelming, especially for creators trying to grow. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Riverside. Riverside is the all-in-one platform. Record, edit, and repurpose your podcast content all in one place. I just log in, record with my guests no matter where they are in the world, and just like that, studio-quality audio and high-resolution video. With built-in AI, I can also automatically clean up my audio, saving myself so much editing time. And it can even generate clips, social media posts, thumbnails, newsletters, blogs, and more, making promoting the show a breeze. Riverside's co-creator feature knows every platform and does all the work, spinning my recordings into optimized content to reach people wherever they are online. So if you're tired of juggling tools and want a faster, simpler way to create and scale your content, it's time to try Riverside. Built by creators for creators. Just go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use the code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART. The reason this works really well is based on another inspiration that I had going into this experiment. And these were some creators that I noticed were doing things like series, right? So there is a person named Tim Naki, Naki, who I believe is also Australian, but he is a person who plays blackjack. And he did a series where he would bet 10 cents for every, I think, follower on online blackjack. And I'm not trying to condone gambling or anything like that, but it was intriguing, right? Like every day his following would grow and he would bet more and more, and every day that would bring more people in, and then he would bet more the next day, and every time he won, it was like we'd all celebrate with him, and every time he lost, like it was just like devastating. There was a guy named Brian DeChambeau. If you're a golfer, you might know this name. He's a professional golfer. He has this beautiful house. It's made of glass. And in his backyard, he has a putting green. And so what he was doing was he was shooting a golf ball over his home from the front yard to the backyard. You see this glass house. You're like, oh my gosh, you're gonna hit this house. But he's a professional. He knows what he's doing. And he was trying to make a hole-in-one by shooting a golf ball over his home. And whatever day it was how many chances he got. So on day 1, it was just 1. On day 5, it was 5 chances. Day 30, it was 30 chances. I won't spoil what day he finally got it, but he did finally get it. But it put him on the map. He became the sort of world's most famous golfer at the time because of the social aspect of what he was doing, the series. A series is great because you know kind of what to expect, but you don't know what the outcome will be. If you might remember Sailing with Phoenix, this is a guy who quit his job. I think he actually worked at an AutoZone or a Discount Tire or something, but he quit his job, cashed in some of his 401k to buy a sailboat and sail from Oregon to Hawaii. And the entire world online was watching this person's journey. And you were always looking forward to the update the next day, the next day, the next day. His story is great. There was this bigger symbolic meaning of, screw the man, let's go on an adventure. Everything everybody who's hated their job wanted to do, he was doing it. And it was so fun to follow along and see him on his journey. Never had sailed before, just got a couple lessons and then literally sailed across the world to Hawaii. And when he arrived there, he arrived with welcome arms and celebration, and it was just really, really cool to see. But you looked forward to it every day. And that's where I was making a mistake before with short form video. Even when I was trying daily, I was random. You didn't know what to expect. The only common factor was me. And when you're trying to grow, these are people who don't care about you at first, right? That comes later. But when they're your casual audience, they don't care about you. They want to know what's going to happen. But if you have a different video every day, like I was trying these comedic ones, and then I was doing listicles, and I was talking about podcasting. The next day I was talking about affiliate marketing, all stuff that, in my opinion, was relevant to an entrepreneur who would maybe follow me on social. But why would a person subscribe? A person subscribes not because they liked a video. That's what a heart or a thumbs up is for, right? People subscribe because they want to know what's coming next. They want to know what's happening. They have anticipation. I was not providing that before. Now, with Short Pocket Monster and Should I Open It or Should I Keep It Sealed, every day there is anticipation. Will he get the big card today? Or will he continue to be on this losing streak, which at the time that I'm recording this, I'm on a major losing streak. It's been like 2.5 weeks since I've gotten anything worthwhile. But it's going to make that time when I actually do pull that great card very, very celebratory. It's interesting. There's been a lot of people in the Pokemon space who has seen this format and have copied it, and they use their own songs. And I don't own the idea of putting a song in the beginning, but a lot of people who are in the comments say, oh, this is just a Deep Pocket Monster ripoff or a Short Pocket Monster ripoff. You have to find what works for you. You have to find a format and get a little creative. There's another guy in the Pokemon space who did this very well. I'd like to think he maybe got inspired by myself and or Alex, just like I did, to create daily content, but he found his own way to do it. He did it by starting with a little gashapon machine, which is similar to like a vending machine that has toys in it. At the grocery store, you put a quarter in, you turn the knob, and then you get something. He has one of those machines, and in the very beginning, he's turning the knob, so already something's happening. The ball pops out, built-in mystery, and he opens it, and he says, ripping until I find this particular Pokemon. And then he starts opening Pokemon packs until he finds that particular Pokemon. And we're all watching in anticipation to see how long it's going to take. So he's found his own version of creating an open loop and building a brand. And he's, like a lot of people have said, oh, Scott's PC, yeah, he's the gashapon guy. Gashapon is sort of the Japanese term for these vending machines. There's another creator out there in the Pokemon space who does this silly thing where when he opens a pack, he says, this is how I would react if I saw each of these Pokemon in person in real life. So he opens the Pokemon, and one at a time he's going, and there's like a cute Pokemon, and then he's saying something really cute, like, oh my gosh, so adorable, will you be my pet? And then there's like a scary Pokemon, and he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, it's just the silliest thing, but it's so interesting, and you want to know, how is he going to react to my favorite Pokemon? He didn't open it today, maybe he'll open it tomorrow. And it's just, again, getting a fun and creative way to create a series, something that gets people to want to know what happens next. This works well on long form as well. We have a number of series. series where I try to complete a set, I fail multiple times, and then I try to complete it again, and that becomes a series. There was a series where I tried to capture all 1,025 Pokemon, but it was divided into 8 different episodes, and that became a series. That was the 4.5-hour video that, after the compilation was put together, was posted and has seen already 3 million views on a 4.5-hour video. That's just insane. It's made over 5 figures, actually, because of the amount of ads that you can kind of put in that thing, or at least ad spots. So the short form has been wonderful. I've always had once been in the camp. I mean, literally my whole YouTube career, minus this past year, I've always said that long form is the only place to be. Short form was killing the opportunity to build super fans because it was just so quick, and then people move on, right? The analogy I use is always like, it's like Halloween candy. You're passing out Halloween candy, and then people move on to the next house, and then you're not remembered. You're not thought about again. But I've changed my stance on that. I do still feel like it's Halloween candy, but imagine if Halloween was every day. And every day, the kids or whoever was trick-or-treating would come to your house and know that you had the king-size Snicker bar. That's what can happen. And even though it's 60 seconds per day, over an entire year, that's a lot of time. That is a lot of time, right? More so than maybe what people might get from long form. So this is why I'm now in the camp of long form plus short form. I do love both, and I think they're both great for different reasons, and I think they're for different audiences. A lot of people who watch my long form channel didn't even know I had a short form channel until I announced it after the experiment, the 60 days was over, and vice versa. A lot of people who follow me on Short Pocket Monster know me for my thumbs and opening these packs, but they had no idea that I have this long form channel until I finally shared some of those things. So the audiences, although there is some overlap, in general, between long form and short form is different. Because if you think about the way and the behavior of a short form viewer, they are doom scrolling, they're at night, they are on the toilet, wherever it might be. Whereas a person who's watching, at least for the Deep Pocket Monster channel, they're watching on a couch while having dinner or while having a snack, bringing the family in, all these kinds of things. So it's really important to pay attention to the device type for people who are watching your stuff, especially on long form, to see kind of what the overlap may or may not be. I was having a conversation about this yesterday with somebody. I was on a podcast, and we were talking about the idea of short form getting in front of audiences, and especially if you are a podcaster and you want to take like snippets of these long formats, whether it's YouTube and video or podcast audio only, whatever it might be, might it be worth taking snippets of that and publishing it? And I was like, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of table stakes now. You do that. But the reason you do it is different than what most people think. You might think that you take these little clips from a larger piece of content so that people can hear like a little Costco-sized teaser and then want to go download or consume the full version of it. But that's not the case. Because again, if a person's on shorts, they want to continue to consume shorts. If a person's watching longs, that's probably their primary mode of consumption. You cannot change the way a person will want to consume content. This is really important. So you kind of have to show up where they are in the format that they prefer. So by creating these little snippets or short form pieces of content from a longer form piece of content, you are now able to get in front of people and still share some of that message with people who would have never found you otherwise. That's why you do it. So a lot of people measure success with that strategy as, oh, we only got this many new subscribers from this short form campaign that we were doing. That's not what it's for. How many more followers have you gotten on that platform? How many more discussions are you having? How many more super fans are you able to make by now showing up where they are, not forcing them to remove themselves from where they want to be and go into a different platform? So that's really, really important. So I mentioned YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Instagram Reels. That's what I started with. I'm literally taking the same video and I'm publishing it on all three. No longer do I have to worry about 60 seconds or less on YouTube. That's not a thing anymore. So typically they're just over a minute, maybe a minute and a half at most. Really, I'm limited by Instagram and having it be 60 seconds, 90 seconds max. Anything more than that, it gets cut off. So I try to keep these things under 60 seconds, under 90 seconds, But like I said earlier, I'm publishing those videos now in the last 30 days on 2 new platforms, and I wanted to talk about this real quick before we finish up here. The first one is Facebook. Yeah, I'm back on Facebook, back with something different in terms of my approach, because first of all, I dislike Facebook. I'm just going to say it out there. I don't like it. They've screwed me before. Just long story short, I hired an agency over a decade ago. This is over 10 years ago, to help me run Facebook ads to some programs and other things that I had. Well, they let a hacker come in. I don't know if it was on their team or whatever, but they created a vulnerability such that a hacker got into my account, started running ads on my dollar, right? My credit card, running ads to these not so great things, and my account got banned. My ad account got banned. And still, a decade later now, I'm not able to get it back. Like, we've talked to people at Facebook and they say, sorry, it is impossible. You will never be able to run ads again unless I create a new account. But I had this following and all this stuff. I also remember back in the day, Facebook pages were a thing. I have some very popular YouTube videos back from 2009 where I was talking about using landing pages for lead generation on Facebook. And then Facebook basically said, yeah, we're not going to care about landing pages anymore. It's all about groups. And then all that work that I was put in, it was just like gone. And it was like, okay, that's not my fault. That's not their fault. They're making changes, but I still blame them for the ad thing. Anyway, not a fan of Facebook, Meta, etc. But Facebook has changed a little bit. Pages are back, because on Pages you can post short form video and Reels, specifically on Facebook. They call it Reels as well, right? There's Instagram Reels and now there's Facebook Reels. And now, as of last week, in fact, all videos on Facebook will now be known as Reels. Even horizontal, longer form videos, they're all under the category of Reels. It's just so weird that it's the same company, Meta, but it's so treated differently. But you know what also is different? Remember earlier where I said I wasn't really monetizing on Instagram, even though I have 1.2 million subscribers there, and I'm generating 60 million views per month there. I'm generating a total of about $500 a month with bonuses, because the way that they do monetization is they have this pool of money that they distribute to multiple creators, kind of divided evenly based on the number of views that they have. And I'm only getting from 60 million views a month, 2 million views a day. I'm getting about $500 a month. That's nothing compared to YouTube, which is in the 5-figure range. And even TikTok, I'm getting about $2,000 to $3,000 every 7 days, I think it is. So we're approaching the $10,000 range there per month. That one is just up and down. Funny because I have no clue what's going on TikTok. I post there and the patterns are so different. There are certain videos that you can tell because of the hook and because of the way that it was filmed that, yeah, it's going to blow up no matter where I put it. And I've seen that. But other ones that blow up on one don't blow up on the other. And there's been ones that have gotten hardly any views, relatively speaking. TikTok is so weird. But I am generating revenue from TikTok about, at a maximum, about $10,000 per month. But in general, about $1,000 to $2,000 per week, now that I'm looking at the stats. So yeah, not much relative to YouTube. However, Facebook, which once had a bonus program similar to Instagram with this pool of money that they had divided evenly and people weren't making that much, this was before I got on, have recently changed to what they call content monetization model, which means they have this model where it's sort of like ads in YouTube, where it's not a bonus thing. It's based on impressions and based on views and actions, engagement. So much so that it's not just with videos, photos, stories, polls, text only. Anything that gets engagement on Facebook. If you have a Facebook page and you've applied to content monetization, you have to apply and get a manual sort of person to review your page. And I think there's certain baseline requirements as well, but you get paid on all of that. And just to give you an idea, yesterday I posted a story, just a single image, and it had made $7. It took 1 second. So now I'm in the middle of experimenting. Okay, well, what happens if I take 30 photos? Imagine 30 photos, each making $70 that are on just a story. Not even like a regular feed. Facebook is so strange to me, but it is paying. And we're at a point now where we're seeing a few $100s per day now on Facebook. So we're going to see what happens there. And yes, I am posting the same videos, but I'm also posting the videos from the library of 400 plus videos that I've had before starting this experiment on Facebook. The other platform, which I was told to experiment on, which I am also seeing revenue on. It's very different. I don't like the UI. I don't feel like it's a platform for me. But again, I have these videos. I'm posting them there anyway. It's Snapchat. And you might think, okay, Snapchat, Pat, that's just like a direct message platform where those messages kind of disappear. Hence the ghost in the logo. But no, they have now what they call Spotlight, which is their version of like a TikTok feed or a YouTube Shorts feed, Instagram Reels. So they have their version of that. There's all these rules. You got to have a certain number of followers. You got to get like a Spotlight star. Like it just does not make sense. The UI, I hate it. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like an old boomer, right? Not just a boomer, but an old boomer trying to figure out the internet, right? Just that's how I feel on there. I'm so lost. But I am able to publish those videos and put them up there. And there's stories as well. And the stories, apparently, what I'm hearing, I haven't seen this yet, are where the money's at there. But I am seeing anywhere between $30 to $50 a day by just posting the same videos there, which is kind of cool. Kind of cool. So here I am in repurposing land, taking the one single video that now takes me 12 minutes to edit, which I am also batch processing as well, to get a full week's worth of these things done in just one day. So there's some more efficiency strategy for you. Posted them on each of these things, scheduling them out. You can schedule on each of these platforms. And it's working. And now we're at a point where I'm at 10 plus million views a day across all of these platforms combined. I got re-invited back to the Detroit Lions football game that's going to happen later this year. I don't remember exactly which one, but I was able to connect with them through my TikTok to get on the Ford Field last year during one of the games to open a pack of Pokemon because their TikTok manager is a big fan of Pokemon, and we connected, and boom. And there are now NBA players, NFL players, MLB players, UFC fighters who all follow, should I open it or should I keep it sealed now? And so I'm glad that even though I had this idea that I did not keep it sealed in, and I tried it, and it's working. And it's pretty crazy because it turned into, just the shorts component of this has turned into a successful business in and of itself. The big lesson here, it's lean learning. This is real life lean learning. If you haven't checked out my book yet, go get it on Amazon. Go find it at Barnes & Noble. This is just another version of that. By hyper-focusing on one particular thing for a period of time that I know has an end date and focusing on the right things, learning from the right people at the right time for the right reasons, I was able to see success. And even if the views didn't blow up like they did, I would still find this a success because of the things I've learned from it. Getting better and more efficient with my editing, the data points that I can then bring into other things that I'm already doing. And of course, the benefit here is I get to run these experiments and share them with you. So I hope that helps. Just to give you some perspective, the most top viewed video with the most views just on YouTube alone has 56 million views. This is the most viewed video I've ever created in my entire life. This was a video that I didn't know would go viral. This is a video that I didn't think was like perfect, but for whatever reason, it hit the right notes. And it's a video that starts with me in a card shop opening a pack of Pokemon once I bring it home. And it's not unlike most of the other ones. And it just so happened to ride this wave. And with 56 million views on this video, it has generated a total of $5,000, which is not a lot compared to the amount of revenue I can get on a long form video. I've had 10 times the amount of revenue on a video with just 1 million or 2 views. But from a 60-second video, like this is insane. And you never know, the next video that you create could blow up. And I just wanted to, again, share with you the update here. I know it's been a while since I've really dove deep into the experiment, and it's no longer an experiment. Like I'm doing it, and I'm experimenting within the experiment, if you will, right? Like with Facebook and Snapchat, we'll see where those things end up. But I'm very, very happy with how things turned out, and I hope that I've been able to inspire you and get you excited about creating content. And, you know, I would encourage you to, if you can find a way, create a daily video in a series in some way, shape, or form where we're following along a journey. It doesn't have to be a forever journey. Maybe it's 30 days to learn how to stretch better, right? To touch the ground because you have no stretching capability. If, of course, you have this fitness brand that could relate, right? You don't want it to be separate, so separate that you build this following about something that's completely different and then you sell them the thing. And that's where I think a lot of entrepreneurs fall into. They're just like, oh, let me try something fun. And fun is great. It's important to have fun. But in some way, shape, or form, having it align with what it is that you also teach or do or promote. You're not promoting in every video, not even close. In fact, you want it to be something that casts this wide net that can then have people who are now more curious about this thing dive in deeper with you. And really, that's what it's about. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. And we got a lot more content coming your way this year. And look out, because we're going to be talking about building your following a little bit more here. I know we talk about business and revenue, but I feel like a lot of times none of that can happen, or it feels very difficult to happen if you don't first yet have a following. And so if you are interested in learning more about how to grow your following, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because multiple times now we've been able to prove it here in various kinds of ways, and we want to help you do the same. Also, I want to give a shout out to another one of our SPI community members, Clint Scherer, host of the Claim to Game podcast. And they're exciting to be approaching 50 episodes, and that is a huge milestone. I mean, anything over 10 is great. Most people fail before then, and Clint, you've done a wonderful job. In his podcast, he helps people have a great time with friends and experience amazing stories through tabletop role-playing games. So check out Clint and his show, Claim to Game podcast. Super proud of you. Keep up the good work. Thanks so much. Take care. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you soon. More people dream about building their own business and being their own boss rather than retiring early. But a majority of them never even take the first steps to register the business. Why? Because starting a business can feel overwhelming. With legal forms, paperwork, finances, it's a lot. And that's where Taylor Brands comes in. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal and business assets separate from day one. And from there, you can get access to everything you need to get off the ground, from legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, our listeners get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. Just head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands. Hey, here's a phrase that might scare you a little bit, and that is, if you don't build a community, your business will be left behind. And I truly believe that. And a community is not your audience. It's different. It's the ability for you to bring your audience together in a special way, to connect, to bring ideas into, to inspire not just you, but each other, and to be a place to collect feedback, to get ideas, and to prototype new ones. You need a community, or you're going to be left behind. I don't want you to be left behind. I want you to come to the How to Launch a Community webinar that I'm going to be teaching for free on Wednesday, October 1st at 11 a.m. Pacific, which is 2 p.m. Eastern. All you have to do is go to smartpassiveincome.com/launch-community. Again, smartpassiveincome.com/launch-community. I'm going to be teaching you how to build a hub for your people so that they can come together and connect with one another. It's actually the best way to have brand longevity, to bring your people together. So let me show you how. Just go to smartpassiveincome.com/launch-community. October 1st, free workshop, how to launch a community. I'll see you there.